Stormfront, the white nationalist forum, is no more as of today. That's right. I received an email letter from the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law, and it reads as follows. After more than 20 years of propagating hate across the planet, Stormfront.com, it really should read Stormfront.org, but I digress, was brought down. Web.com stopped providing domain registration services to Stormfront, shutting down the site. The development comes 2 days after the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law's Stop Hate Project issued a demand letter to Network Solutions and its parent company, Web.com. Web.com was, in fact, providing the domain registration services necessary to spread hate across the country in violation of Web.com's own policies. Web.com's acceptable use policy prohibits people from using their services to, and I quote, display bigotry, discrimination, racism, or hatred. And Stormfront did that in buckets. The Lawyers Committee notice made clear that Stormfront was in violation of Web.com's acceptable use policy. Quote, Stormfront.com has been home to over 300,000 registered users who use the website to promote white supremacist violence around the world. In addition to the explicitly bigoted, racist, anti-Semitic, definitely, and Islamophobic discussions that take place on Stormfront, more than 100 murders can be traced back to Stormfront users who frequented the site to discuss their hateful ideologies. We will continue to use every tool in our arsenal to disrupt the vehicles used to promote and incite racial violence across our country, said Kristen Clark, President and Executive Director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law. Especially in the wake of the tragic events at Charlottesville and the spike in hate crimes across the country, Stormfront crossed the line of permissible speech and incited and promoted violence. Web.com is to be recognized for choosing to adopt an acceptable use policy that prohibits people from using their services to display bigotry, discrimination, racism, or hatred. Web.com's decision to terminate services to Stormfront.com demonstrates that the company would enforce its own policies in order to support its diverse customers and the online community as a whole. At the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law, we are proud to be a resource for individuals and community organizations across the country who have been combating hate for years. Stormfront.com fostered the kind of discrimination, division, and violence that seeks to undermine people coming together across different communities. While we recognize that bringing down one site won't end these efforts, it will make it a little more difficult for white supremacists to sow hatred. It will make it clear to people fighting for justice across the country that there are many people who recognize the inherent human dignity that unites us, said Becky Monroe, director of the Stop Hate Project of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law. Stormfront was one of the first major hate sites on the internet with more than 300,000 registered users. The site was launched by former Alabama Ku Klux Klan boss and white supremacist Don Black in 1995. The site is frequently used to promote racial violence and is frequented by white nationalists and other violent extremists. The Stormfront website was used along with dailystormer.org to organize and encourage participation in the violent and fatal Unite the Right rally held in Charlottesville, Virginia. A copy of the Lawyers Committee demand letter can be found in this email. So I never thought I'd see that day. However, I must note one matter of detail. Don Black took great pains to put in Stormfront that his organization and he did not support and took time to remove anybody that incited violence or suggested violence. These are his words. I'm not kidding you. These are his words. So they have to be recited because Don Black took the time to send out that message. Now, that is far different from the kind of people Stormfront attracted and the amount of talk of that kind, of violent kind, versus Mr. Black and his staff's ability to take down those posts. I also have to add that Mr. Black himself has made numerous anti-Semitic comments on Stormfront, and so he basically walked a tightrope, violating Web.com's policies on a regular basis. On the one hand, saying we don't want or appreciate people who call for violence, but on the other hand, making hateful comments, writing hateful comments about persons in particular who are Jewish. So the world is a better place today, at least for the right now. But I caution, Stormfront drew as much as, at one point, 10 million page views a month. That is about half the size of the page views of Craigslist, one of the largest websites of its kind in the world. So this doesn't mean that the feeling goes away. It simply means that it can't be placed there. The hatred can't be placed there. You have to keep that in mind. Stay tuned and please subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube. And join us for our live stream. We're going to have one tonight talking later about the fight. That's right. McGregor versus Mayweather, which is going on, I believe, very soon. See ya.